Hello, hello. My name is Juji. Welcome to my channel. This is HD by Z. If you're new here, this is a space for anyone who's into human design. I do videos mostly about celebrity couples. I interview people I've worked with in the past, and sometimes I make videos about the system itself. I even just did a story time to talk about how I found human design and how it's helped my relationship with my mom. It's a great day for you to be here because I'm going to be talking about David and Victoria Beckham. These two have been together for a whopping 23 years. And I was wondering what it was about their connection that kept it going for such a long time, not to mention they have 4 children together. I mean, professional athletes don't really have a great track record for A, being faithful, and B, being able to carry on long time committed relationships, especially somebody as world famous as David Beckham. I mean, Victoria Beckham was pretty famous as Posh Spice when they first met, but she hasn't been doing that in a long time, and he hasn't played soccer in a long time. So there has to be more to their relationship than what it looks like from the outside. But before we get into all that, I just want to remind you all that if you want to get in touch with me, all of my information will be in the show notes below. You can chat with me on Instagram at HDbyZ. I love getting DMs from you guys. I'll also drop the link for my women's online community called the Beehive, where we have weekly Zoom calls. All of my workshops are archived on the Beehive, and there's so many other goodies as part of your membership. All right, so David and Victoria, they met in 1997, and supposedly he saw her on TV and turned to his friend and said, "I'm gonna marry that girl." And why I think that's such an interesting way to get a relationship started is because it just proves that your frequency, your vibe, your design, if you will, translates even through a screen. So there was something about her that David just knew he had to have. So let's take a look at what that is. Okay, so here we go. This is David Beckham's chart. He's a manifesting generator, emotional authority, split definition, 4-6 on the right angle cross of the 4 ways. Now, the first thing that stuck out to me immediately was this open G center. I would put money on it that Victoria has a defined G center. So let's find out. All right, so this is Victoria. She's a manifesting generator, just like David, emotional authority, just like David, split definition, just like David, 1-3 profile on the right angle cross of laws. And what do you know? She has a defined G center. Right off the bat, you can see that they have a lot in common. So let's look at their combined charts together. Wow, there's a lot to say here. So right off the bat, I can see that they're 7 and 2 work to do, meaning they have 7 centers defined together and 2 open, the head and the ajna. And work to do sounds quote unquote bad, right? But really, when we say 7 and 2 work to do, it means that the people who have this kind of connection are here to work on their relationship consistently. And what most of the articles that I read about them had to say is that they continue to have date nights together. You know, they continue to make time for one another and prioritize one another. And that's really what that means. And having an open head and ajna together means that they probably have a lot to talk about. You know, ideas float in and out of these open head, open ajna configurations. And there's probably so much that they're always chatting about, even after 23 years. Now, if you see here, they have 5 electromagnetic connections, not super surprising. But what I thought was really crazy is these 3 channels from the root to the emotional center. So they have adrenalized emotionality between the 2 of them. There's so much emotions in this chart. And they have an emotional connection with this 1222, which is all about openness. It's all about being in the mood to be social or not. So potentially when they are in the mood, they want to go out, they want to spend that quality time together. And when they're not, they're okay with staying home. Another electromagnetic that stuck out to me is this 4426 to the ego. Now, they both independently have ego definition because they have the channel of money, both of them in their charts, which means that there's a companionship there. But this channel of surrender is all about transmitting to the world who they want to be seen as. And they're definitely seen as a power couple, both in Hollywood and in the fashion world and in the sports world. I mean, they have their fingers in so many different things, and their 4 children now have their hands in so many different avenues. So it's really this family enterprise. And speaking of family, one of the first things that apparently David and Victoria talked about on their first date is how important family is to both of them. And the reason that isn't surprising is because they have this 45-21 channel of money, which sounds like it would just be about financial gain, but this is a very powerful tribal channel that they share in common. And the tribe is all about the family, and the family needs resources, which is why it's called the channel of money. And they have a lot of resources between the two of them. She now has a luxury fashion line, and he has all of these royalties from the various things that he's been sponsored by for the past, I don't know how many years. So they've definitely accumulated a lot of material in order to provide for their families. All right, so what more is there to say about these two? I mean, they're the quintessential perfect couple. Even the fact that they had 4 kids, couldn't split them up, that tends to be something that gets overwhelming after a time, but they seem to still be thriving. So what other than these electromagnetics can we point to? Well, one thing I want to point out is that individually, they are split definition, meaning that they are looking to connect outside of themselves. And together, they are a single definition. So even though their composite chart is 7 and 2, there's still a lot of comfort and connectivity within their charts, meaning together they feel whole and complete together. Another thing that I've never really talked about is what it means when profiles are in harmony together. Remember, David is a 4-6 profile and she's a 1-3 profile. The 4 harmonizes to the 1 and the 6 harmonizes to the 3. This is as harmonious as 2 profiles can get. Potentially one of the things that they understand about each other the most is their trial and error process. Now, as a 6th line, David is no longer in his trial and error phase, but that doesn't mean that he's not still attached to being an experiential learner. Being familiar with this trial and error process probably makes it a lot easier for both of them to be okay with making mistakes in their relationship. In fact, I hope that they have a sense of humor about it, because laughter is the best way to laugh your way through something that might be uncomfortable otherwise. And speaking of uncomfortable, they have a lot of emotionality in their chart. It's definitely ideal for both people in a relationship to be emotionally defined so that they can understand this wave process that they have to go through, and they probably don't rush each other, although they were married and pregnant within a year of being in a relationship together. So when you know, when you're emotionally clear, you're clear. So these two wasted no time getting together, but potentially when it comes to other big decisions that they have to make together, it's about being sure that the other person is comfortable and emotionally okay with what they decide, such as moving their family from the UK to LA. That must have been a really big decision that they had to make, and I hope that they didn't make it overnight, because that would have been very uncomfortable for both of them. So having a sense of humor, being able to take their time, not rushing each other is apparently their recipe for a successful relationship. In fact, I was reading an article about the fact that Victoria was in a really bad mood one day, and he was leaving the house and he left her a note that said, "When I come back, I hope you're not such an asshole." And I don't know why, but I think one of them posted it on social media. So clearly they do know how to poke fun at each other. They know how to laugh about it, even publicly. And I really think that that has everything to do with their 4426 channel. All right, guys, I think that just about covers it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and press subscribe if you want to get notified every time I drop one of these. Please also leave a question or a comment below. I swear I answer them. And if you want to nominate another celebrity couple for me to do analysis for, I would love to hear it. I have a long list going, so please bear with me. Until next time, ciao for now.